My name is Jonathan Gillum.
And this is The Experts. This is Jonathan Gillum, and this is The Experts on Facebook Live, on Twitter, and YouTube. And I'm sorry, Facebook, I didn't give you a big, huge 2-minute warning that I'm coming on, so it's okay. I'm going to be sharing this right now as we start to all my different Facebook pages, so make sure that you're sharing this as we start it. I've made that mistake for the first time where I didn't realize that Facebook wasn't broadcasting. So let me just share this so everybody knows. And then we're going to talk about old Al Gore and these activists that are buddies of his and these animal rights people. We're going to throw them all in there. But basically Al Gore's nonsensical blabber sums it all up for us today when it was reported that he said that climate change is evidently the same as slavery. So we're going to bring that up and we'll talk about some more of this nonsense. North Korea, Thursty Thursday toast in case you want to go out and get yourself something to drink here. Let's get started. All right, I got to stop looking over there and start looking over here. So, again, sorry about that, Facebook. I didn't give you the 2-minute warning that I normally give you. It was just, well, look who's here. Andrew Blake Saliga. Well, good to see you there, veteran. And just for you, I'm going to do this. I'm going to complete the Magnum PI outfit, because it's Thursty Thursday, with the Detroit Tigers baseball cap. So there you go. And might as well do a little Magnum PI music here. Let's see. I think I can pull this up here. Just get the full effect of this whole thing. Let's see here. I got to go to my sounds here. And here, ringtone, here you go. Sometimes you just got to make yourself laugh. I don't know if anybody else is laughing. You know what I'm going to do just to even it all out? I'm going to show you something. We'll just start off with this before we even get to the Al Gore stuff. About the stupidity. I got to take this off. It's too hot in here. About the stupidity of this far left, these far left individuals. I've dealt with these people throughout my FBI career. Anarchist, Animal Rights Liberation Group, the Earth Liberation Group. All these people are terrorists. They should be classified as terrorists. They're the same people that are involved in the Wall Street protests. Most of them have come from rich families out on Long Island and other places around the world. And, you know, they will bitch and complain about the way we live our lives or things that they don't want. But then they go home to a big palatial spread, and if they do decide to take a bath, they probably take it in something that's worth way more than any house that I've ever grown up in. You know, the majority of these people are high most of the time. They're on various forms of dope, and they live in a fantasy world with little faith, if any faith in God. And most of them will argue with you to the bitter end about any type of sacrifice that was ever made by Jesus or by veterans or anything like that. They I don't know, they live in a very self-indulged psychosis. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about a little bit here tonight, because this isn't just activists. That's what I'm going to show you a video of here. But while I play this video for you, Well, here, I want you to do two things real quick before I play this video. One, make sure that you have a tasty beverage. I don't care if it's beer, like I have Corona Light, or if you have iced tea or milk, water, whatever you got. I'm going to be sipping that throughout the program. But I want you to, we're going to have a Thirsty Thursday night toast because I'm going to take tomorrow off. I may actually come up for a minute, but I got work that I have to take care of, and so I'm going to have to take tomorrow off. And but I'll see what I can do if I can come up for a few minutes. It'll be via my phone. It won't be on this whole production that I do on a nightly basis. So that being said, I want you to share the show. I want you to remember, for everybody that's watching right now, I don't know how many viewers we got. We'll see over. We'll go look over here on Twitter. We got 60. That's good. We got on Facebook. We got on YouTube. We got 12 people. We really got to pump this whole Facebook thing up. And then on YouTube, where it looks like we're looking at 75 people. So, I want y'all to go share it. And stand by 1 second. So I want you to share the show, and there's the GoFundMe page right here. If you haven't donated, you know, it's hard for me to continue to ask for money. We need it. I need it. I tell you one thing that I haven't really told anybody yet. That Suburban of mine, I've put so many miles on it, highway miles over the past year doing this show and going all over the place doing this stuff, that I just have the strangest feeling the front end is going bad on that thing. So something's gonna happen. I'm gonna have to have it looked at, and I just have a strangest feeling. Dave Robinson doesn't live close enough, so we can't dig into that thing. But I have a feeling that something's going wrong with the front end of that truck. So we may be getting into some money here pretty soon that we have to spend on the truck. The Experts Roadshow Rico and Jesse truck, Suburban. All right, so here, let me play this video for you real quick. And this ought to set you off nicely so that we can go right into the stupidity of the Al Gore comments. Now, I'm just going to give you a little peek of what's happening here. And then you'll be able to hear. Let me pause it for a second. You'll be able to hear what's going on. You'll figure it out. Stupid phone. All right, there you go. You'll be able to figure out. Okay, so these people, they're animal rights liberation people, and this is just some kind of, they just happened up on some people that were fishing. This whole thing, the way these people work, it's, actually it's kind of sick the way they're looping these kids. It's the same thing as we talked about last night with the transgender and the gay activists getting children involved and saying that you're gay and you're a child when children aren't even fully sexually developed yet. And how I keep saying that the people, if you want to be a part of a community and you feel like it brings you meaning to be a part of a community and you want to identify with a gay community, okay, whatever, you better start realizing that they're using that community as a way to push certain things, like this weird thing yesterday about I forgot the word now, consent. They were talking about consent and how toddlers and young children should be consenting and understand what consenting means. And consenting just means yes. It just means yes or no. I do or I do not consent, when that's not exactly what it's all about. I'm not going to rehash the whole thing, but none of this stuff is done to better people. It's all done because these people are activists and they have an agenda. And the interesting thing about it is the agenda is not what you think it is. The agenda is not about, making animals safer. It's not about making the inner city safer. It's not about helping young kids find themselves. It's all about an agenda. It's all about division. It's all about going against societal norms, which are built on nature and what nature deems is proper to keep the species going, of whatever species it is. And these people want to go against that because they hate what nature has prescribed, and they want to institute it with their own fake utopia called communism. Well, they're going to call it something else, but they're not even using the word communism, really. Even the communists don't even hardly use that word anymore. They either use globalist, socialist, one world government, utopia, whatever they're going to call it. They hate God. They hate nature. They say they love nature. That's what's the other thing that's funny about it. They say they love trees, and they say they love the climate and this and that, but they don't want to go off of anything that nature says this is the way it should be. They don't want that. And I understand if they have, if they've had some kind of deviation in their sexual drive from when they were developing as a child, and I don't hold any ill will towards anybody about that. But it's interesting how these activists, the animal rights liberation people, the earth liberation people, the gay activists, the Black Lives Matter, all these people, they all want to talk about the same type of divisive, don't judge. It's a perfect example with Black Lives Matter. Don't judge us because of the color of our skin, but yet notice the color of our skin. It's kind of this weird thing. And then you have abortion rights people who say you should be able to kill babies in the womb, but yet you shouldn't go out and kill a bad guy who is murdered 10 people. They shouldn't get the death penalty. These people are kooky. They don't think things through, and they're so self-indulged that they become easy prey for psychopathic manipulators that are all a part of this whole entire system of globalization. So let's just watch. These people send up their kid to try to make these two guys fishing feel bad, and then they come on with the full-fledged assault. So I want you to think about, right now as you watch this, at what point would you have called the cops?
When you hook them in the mouth, it really hurts them. Okay. So please stop fishing. It really hurts them. Okay. Stop fishing.
Okay, I would have put that
let this fish die like this.
I would have put that fish in a bucket.
What if this was a dog and I hooked the dog through the mouth and threw her in the water? How would you guys feel about that? We don't eat any animals because all animals have the same ability to feel love and pain just like we do. Would you guys agree with that?
No.
You don't? Do you respect his opinion not to kill animals? Do you guys think that this is okay to let this fish die right here? What if this was a human child? But what if it was? They have the same ability and same emotions as a human child. That's not my opinion. That's facts, sir. That's facts from science, sir. It is facts. Have you ever looked up how fish feel pain? I'm not harassing you. You're harassing this fish right here. This fish you're harassing. This is my duty, and my duty is to speak up for animals in need. This little child right here,
his duty is in his mouth. That guy's an idiot. So, okay, let's fast forward here. I just accidentally liked that video. I'm going to have to get rid of that. Okay, so this harassment continues on for 3 more minutes, and then...
I'm fixing to throw him back in the water.
No, you're not going to touch him. I'm not going to touch this fish that's dying?
Is your property? Is he your property?
Is he your property?
He is now. It is our property.
No, he's not. Don't step on that fish!
Call the police. I just saved the fish life. How about that? How about that? Call the police.
Or a cat, or a human.
Call the police. I just saved the fish's life.
I'm fixing to throw him back in the water.
You're not going to touch him.
I'm not going to touch this
Why?
fish.
Because he's your property? Is he your property?
Is he your property?
He is now. It is our property.
No,
Okay.
he's not.
So here's the bad
Don't
thing.
step on that.
Here's the bad thing about this whole thing. Had one of those guys pop that idiot right in the face, you know what would have happened? They would have gone to jail for assault. I guarantee you they would have gone to jail for assault because, for one, law enforcement is afraid to stand up for people who stand up for themselves. I look at this as assault, that they're assaulting their freedom to be out there. I look at this as an assault on their property. When they've caught this fish, the fish is now their property. It's legal. There's a sign right around the corner. The guy points out that it's legal for them to fish there. And this individual came up, stole their property, and threw it back into the water. You know, back in the old days, back in the 50s and 40s, that guy would have gotten his behind kicked. The cops would have rolled up and would have arrested him for being an idiot. But that doesn't happen anymore because executives in law enforcement are miserably incompetent, and a lot of them are activists themselves, and definitely city officials. And so, you know, that's what happens here. But then it gets even better. So they get into it. You know, they're not fighting.
Killing fish is no kindness.
It's not food. It's violence.
Here we go.
Fish feel pests. It's not food.
It's violence.
Killing fish is no kindness.
It's not food. It's violence.
Their bodies,
Not ours.
their lives.
Not ours.
It's not food.
It's violence.
I'll tell you what it is. It's annoying. That's what it is. So, unfortunately, I don't know how that ended. I don't know if those guys got arrested or not because the video ended. But they walked away like, yeah. Because the reality is, folks, they were these people they're activists, and that was planned. The whole thing was planned. So I don't know about you all, but it's very aggravating to me. And it goes right along with the nonsense that Al Gore – whoops, I just turned my ringer off. That Al Gore and the rest of these weirdos they always come up with all this nonsense. Let me get Twitter turned back on here so I can see what how much of a fit they're having on this. Let's see here. Now, the same thing is going on like with Twitter. This isn't the same thing, but I will tell you this. Let's see here. Hold on. There it goes. So apparently we're starting to figure out that something's going on Twitter where people can come on and they can complain about certain people several times, or Twitter has some kind of a thing that they're using now. I saw some kind of a program. I saw something on Fox News a couple of weeks ago. Evidently, Google and Facebook and these other groups are getting together now, and they're going to start. I can guarantee what's going to start happening. They're going to start looking for identifiable things. So if you put up a bunch of frowny faces, or if you say a certain keywords, or somebody types in keywords, or they react to something, they're going to get booted, and the show will get blocked, or something's going to happen. There's things happening. I'm not exactly sure what it is that's going on, but something is happening right along the same lines of these guys coming up there and fishing, right? It's legal. It is, is it humane? Those fish die pretty quick, and then they're cooked and ate. That's God's law, and it's, the law of the land, so not much that you can really do about it. I don't think they're ever going to be able to get the Supreme Court to outlaw fishing. It would change the lives of majority of people on this planet. So instead of people going along with it and just refraining from fishing if they don't like it, they want to go out and they want to cause other people problems and throw their fish back and disrupt people as they're out there having a nice day outside. And that's the way these people are. That's what they do. Well, when you look at Twitter, you look at Facebook, you look at YouTube and the people who own these things, what's going to happen there is they're going to do the same thing. They don't like what you're saying, they're going to censor it. Meanwhile, they're going to have videos of people getting hit by cars or dying, and they're not going to do anything about those. They're going to have videos of individuals going up to people who have Donald Trump paraphernalia on, and they're going to hit them, or they're going to punch them, or grab their stuff and throw in, which is basically robbery, and they're going to leave those videos up. But if we come on and we talk about the reality of conservatism and free thinking, and how we think that the Clintons are some kind of criminal organization, or we talk about pedophilia and how government and Hollywood is all wrapped up in that, and it's that and human sex trafficking is out of control in this country, well, you'll get blocked for that, or you'll get pushed off. But they're not going to block somebody that comes on to Twitter and says, their screen name is, I'm not even going to say it, is something that is horrifically vile and against children. They won't even, the Twitter doesn't have a program to find that, or Facebook. So it's very interesting how these people love to impose their will. And a lot of the times, as I was explaining before, it has nothing to do with animals, has nothing to do with making the environment better. I'm sure there are people that believe that. But overall, what you're seeing is you're seeing the globalists, the socialists, the dividers in this world that are trying to divide us by using this stuff and to cause division, to cause anger, to spur things out of control because they want chaos. Remember, where chaos reigns, chaos rules, and they can easily come in when chaos is ruling, and that's the facts. There's no Rahm Emanuel said it himself when Bill Clinton when Obama was in office. He said that I can't remember the exact quote. Maybe somebody will know it, but basically, any big issue or incident or occurrence is something that they can use for their own political gain. I can't remember the exact quote that he had. Somebody might want to look that up and let me know what it is. But so anyway, Al Gore. Al Gore, I wish this guy, he's the strangest looking human being, one of the strangest looking human beings around. She pops up and basically says that it was an audio recording because the security wouldn't allow anybody to have videos. They never let a good crisis go to waste. Thank you very much. I appreciate that on Twitter. They don't let these crises go to waste because they know they can use it and make a ton of money. Al Gore has made, oh my gosh, tremendous amounts of money off of this whole climate change thing. In fact, I would have to say that Al Gore probably outsmarted the Clintons because he utilized his position as vice president to further the agenda of climate change, but never had to worry because that is not something that he has to be an elected official to garner all the money and attention from. So he's basically been able to just forward his lies and his agenda, and in certain cases, like he did at this meeting, he linked slavery to climate change, saying that it was a similar occurrence. So let me pull this up here. Let me see if it's up here. I had it up here just a second ago. There it is. So, gosh, this guy's strange. Okay, so the abolition of slavery, women's suffrage and women's rights, the civil rights movement, and the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa, the movement to stop toxic phase of nuclear arms race, and more recently, the gay rights movement, Gore said, is in tradition of all the great moral causes. What he's saying, okay, is that combating global warming was in the tradition of all the great moral causes that have improved the circumstances of humanity throughout history. The abolition of slavery, women's suffrage, and women's rights, the civil rights movement, and the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa, the movement to stop toxic phase of nuclear race, arms race, and more recently, the gay rights movement. Now, interesting thing about that. See, again, they show their cards all the time. You got to start understanding where to look. Everything he said in there, with the exception, I think, of the anti-apartheid movement, are now being utilized as ways to continue the division of this country. Now, abolition of slavery, the greatest thing this country ever did. Second thing, the greatest thing this country ever did, I don't know if you could say second, I think they're right on line, is getting rid of women's suffrage and allowing women to be on equal stance with men. Those are two of the greatest things in, not modern history, in the history of mankind. Those are two things that probably more profoundly thrust equality forward than anything else ever in the history of mankind. Making women equal and and not just getting rid of slavery here in the United States, but there are still slaves in this world. Don't think that there's not. But the fact is, our Constitution, our founding fathers, and the way that Constitution grew, and the country evolved. The Constitution didn't evolve. The way the country evolved to meet the Constitution. See, that's where all these scholars and people get it wrong. Hold on, I gotta let Rico know he needs to calm down. Oh, those animal rights people wouldn't like that. I just smacked him with my hat. So he does this. He did it today when I was on the Hannity show. Thank goodness you couldn't hear it. I'm sitting there debating with Rick Unger, and this knucklehead. Come here. Come here. Come up here. So this knucklehead decides to. He wants to cough. Just like this, he only coughs anymore. He only coughs when he wants something, or when I'm when I'm talking. Yeah, I'm not buying it anymore, man. He does it when he first wakes up. I get it. I get it. He's adjusting. He's been sleeping, but then whenever I start doing something he doesn't like, or if he wants attention, he starts coughing and walking and doing circles around me like a shark with asthma. Okay, I'm holding you. Can I get back to this? This is important stuff we're talking about. All right, that's enough. Love you. Oh, now you're going to wag your tail? He never wags his tail. That was the first time he's wagged his tail. All right, see? Even he lets me know accidentally, just like these. I'm not comparing you to communists, all right, so don't get angry. But just like these communists, they make the mistake. Well, my shirt's coming undone here. They make the mistake of showing their true colors every now and then. Let me see here. I don't know if Rico made my shirt come undone or just the size of my pectorals made it happen. I don't know, something. All right. So anyway, where were we? So, oh, by the way, some idiot, I don't know if I pointed this out, some idiot came on Facebook. I blocked him, trying to use the fact that I'm close to Rico and have pictures of Rico and I have him on the show, trying to make it sound like I'm some kind of idiot because of that. I mean, any person that belittles another human being see, I'm an animal lover, that belittles a man for loving his dog, even though his dog is a pain in the rear at 17. Go ahead, sit down. He sits down really slow because he's got arthritis. And he's down. All right, it took him that long to sit down. All right, so if he was old man, we'd be going back and forth constantly. So anyway, let me get back to what I was talking about to begin with. Al Gore, the abolition of slavery, women's rights, all this stuff, it was incredible for this country. And our Constitution never changed. Society changed. Cultures around the world changed. And by and large, our Constitution is what affected that change. That change is what caused that change to happen. That's how remarkable this whole thing of the United States and our Constitution actually is. If the Constitution had never been written, our founding fathers had our founding fathers had never struck out to do the things that they did, slavery would probably still be going on. Monarchies would be all over the place. We'd still be in the same position that we were, that the world was before. So listen, our Constitution has gone beyond what I think our founding fathers would have ever thought. So, no, I'm coughing now because I took a drink of this and it went down the wrong pipe. So, when Al Gore comes on here and says this nonsense, what you're seeing is no different. It's grandstanding and parading and saying stuff that is bringing stuff up that's already been fixed and then comparing something that there's no way to prove. Science has shown this. Science has not proven that there's a climate change, and they've not been able to prove exactly what's caused that climate change. There's scientists that say that the climate changes on a regular basis, and it's caused from natural natural circumstances, whether it be volcanoes, natural occurrences in the weather, the sun. There's all these different things. I've always been one to say that human beings are a virus and we're a dirty creature, and we should always be working to clean things up. So I'm not against cleaning things up and regulations of what we throw into the atmosphere. I really think that we should have as clean. When we used to make explosives, when I was in the SEAL teams, our instructors used to tell us a clean charge is a happy charge. So you would see everybody struggling as hard as they could to make something as nice and clean as possible, and so it's the same thing with where you live. You know, your atmosphere, the area around you should be clean. That's why when you go in environments where it's dirty, you normally have more violence. You have poverty. I've never equated poverty with dirtiness because we were poor, extremely poor growing up, but we were never dirty. My mom always made us stay clean, and when she could get new clothes for us, she got new clothes for us, but we were never, we washed our dishes, we kept our house clean, we did our laundry, we just weren't dirty. But if you look throughout the world, wherever there's dirty areas, you're going to have violence and poverty. So where am I going with this? Well, Al Gore and these animal rights liberation people and the grandstanding that they do and all the things that they do, out of all the police that have killed unarmed men recently, do I feel any of them were justified? I don't know of a lot of cops that were killing anybody that was unarmed. There's been people shot that were driving a car. They didn't have a gun, but they were using their car to kill people. There's been people that have gone after cops and other people with knives, and they deserve to be shot. And I don't care if it's 16 or 20 times. The fact is, you can't overkill somebody who's trying to kill somebody else. So no, that doesn't bother me. And as long as the cops followed the rule of the law and they felt an imminent threat of loss of life or serious bodily injury, I don't have a problem with it. I don't know. You're a troll. That's why you're coming on here and saying that. But see, that's exactly what I'm talking about, folks. So this troll will come on here and will bring up something like that, because what they want to do is they want to inflict some type of distraction, some type of anger, some type of issue. They want to inflict these things in there so that they can get people stirred up and get people angry. You're going to be surprised at how many people would read a tweet like that and say, yeah, all those cops shooting those unarmed people. Well, that doesn't happen. It very rarely happens that somebody gets shot that's well, I don't know. I don't know who you are. If you're not a troll, that was a dumb question. I don't know. You say you sent me something on Instagram about something. I'll go read it and I'll take your advice on something if it's about electronics. But that's a dumb question. I don't know what you're asking me that question for. Look, anybody asks me questions on Instagram, or not Instagram, but on Twitter or Periscope, it is so small. This is what I'm watching it on. Okay, so when you say something. Watch the next one that comes up here. When they say something, I can't see who's saying what. Of course, nobody's going to say anything now because you're all little chickadees. You're not going to say, go ahead, type something. There you go. I can't see that. I mean, it's tiny. So, anyway, this is a good example, though, of what I'm talking about. You can't get caught up in the anger of all these things. If those guys were sitting there and they caught a fish and then they were, and they were bashing its head in with a hammer or putting a firecracker in it just to kill it and then run away, I consider that animal abuse. I don't consider fishing animal abuse. I'm sure it doesn't please them to be caught and eaten. But that is our right, and without that food, human beings would no longer be able to be on this earth. I believe in hunting, as Ron Bellum points it out, ethical hunting, where you kill what you're going to eat, and or in certain cases like the pigs in Texas and in the southern United States, they're out of control. These wild boars, and they're mean and nasty, and they kill dogs and kill human beings. And so I think that unfortunately, hunting just to kill is, in that circumstance, I think is ethical. We have a deer problem as well in this country. We got just two, and they're also good eating as well. I just read a study today that that eating bacon is very close to taking cocaine. Now, I've never taken cocaine, but I've never done drugs in my life, but I do eat bacon. And they said that what happens when you eat bacon, it releases dopamine that makes you want more of it. So I guess I found my drug of choice. It's made from pork and it's full of fat, and I love it. So, okay, I know I'm all over the place with this first thing, but you know, it's going to lead us to the next point here, which is let's go to the A block, and I'll tell you what. I don't even know why I bother blocking these out now. So, Bro Laura, I think that was your name. You said that you ate deer once and that was it, never again. Let me tell you, if the right cook is making the deer, it's good. It's actually really, really good. It's like smoked ham, really, if the right person cooks it. But deer is, if you don't know what you're doing with deer and cooking it, it'll come out gamey. So I'm not an expert in cooking deer. But I do know when I was down in Myrtle Beach for the Special Operations Wounded Warrior dinner, oh my goodness, they had some deer there that was unbelievable. I had never had bear before, but wow, it was incredibly good. They were called bear balls, so it was like bear sausage. And I feel like my light just got dimmer. I guess it did. So anyway, where am I going with all this? Okay, so the stuff about Al Gore and the Constitution, all these things I'm talking about. When I was on Sean Hannity's show today, and I'm talking to Sean and Rick and about Rick Unger about what's going on with Trump and President Trump and Donald Trump Jr. and all these things with the Russians, I told him basically, which is good because I got to rehearse what I was going to say on this show all week, and so I explained to the rest of the United States. He's like 17 million people listen to that show when you're on, which is interesting because I didn't get a lot of responses on Twitter or Facebook. I got some, but I've said stuff that was nowhere close to this important before and gotten a tremendous amount of attention because of it. What I said today was really important, and I basically laid out on there exactly what I've been talking about, how the Democratic Party is using Russian sources to do their dirty work, and how, you know, in the federal government, we don't go out and run an operation with people that we're going to let them know that we use them as a source. You use a source, the bad guy who you're trying to get information on is never going to know that you're the one handling that source, and that's basically what's happening here. So I got to explain that to him. But one thing, man, I was really wanting to have Rick Unger on tonight. I know he's old. He just got through with his show. He's probably already in bed. His show's over at 9. I wish he would come on here. I mean, I'm going to text him real quick to see if he will. I know he won't, but I wish he'd come on here because I really think, and Rick may not want to talk about this, but I really think that they need liberals, good liberals, need to really start distancing themselves from these Democratic establishment criminals. Because they're communists. They're really communists. Let me see. Maybe write Rick Unger real quick. I know he won't, but let's see here. Let me see. I'm writing him and say, would you like to be on the show? On my show? I know you've been talking all day. But what can I say that's snarky? I need a liberal. Yeah, let's see. What was I going to write? Oh, yeah. By the way, I'm writing this live. And telling everyone. What I'm writing. So there you go. That's what I wrote. I don't think you can see it on there anyway. We'll see if he writes back. All right. So, anyway, long story short with this, I'm having too much fun on my own tonight, and that's probably why the numbers are so low. Listen, I'm going to talk directly to liberals here. Conservatives don't go anywhere. You can take a drink right now, all right? We should, every time I say liberal, you can drink. Okay, liberal. So somebody said talk about how Russian lawyers are attached to John Podesta. I don't know enough about that yet. I'm not going to lie to you about the Podestas. I need a specialist to come on and talk about. No, I don't want to use that word specialist. I need an expert in the Podestas to come on and talk about the Podestas. I honestly, they are such. I watched a documentary on them, and it was profound. Those people are very, very powerful. And I don't spin. I don't know who that was that said that, but I don't spin stuff. So, here's the facts of this whole thing. We've gone over this over and over again. That I believe that this is an intel operation. I think it's clear to see that they are basically manufacturing the scenario and then inputting information or evidence in there, just like if somebody's being entrapped. They say, okay, somebody, a bunch of nefarious cops would be sitting around and say, this Islam is a problem. So they go and they sit down they send undercovers in a bunch of coffee shops, and they talk to these guys, and then they get one that says, man, I'm really pissed off about how people are treating us in America and blah, blah, blah. And so they say, okay, you know what you should do? We should get together and go bomb something. And he's like, nah, I don't really want to do that. And they're like, come on, what are you, chicken? You should jihad with us. And so they say, okay, all right, or what? I don't know if I want to do that. Listen, just do it with us. Go and we'll get you in touch with an arms dealer and blah. And so they go, and then they frame the guy, and then they take him. They bring him to court, right? So that's called entrapment. That's what's happening here. And I've gone over this over and over again. Is the fact that the underbelly of the Obama administration and the Clintons and the DNC, all these different people that are far leftist, they are creating scenarios or a scenario, and then they are using sources like this businesswoman that was allowed to come over when she was previously not allowed to come over and meet with the Trumps. When whether it's the ambassador, it's was continuously meeting with different people in the Trump cabinet before he was elected. All those things where the FISAs just happened to catch when these people were with them, and strangely enough, either didn't catch or that their names were never released, the Clintons and her group, because they actually met with the same Russian people, which was never in the media, is never a case. So basically what you're seeing here is the same thing I described there earlier with entrapment is the same thing that's going on here, where they're creating this type of information and evidence and putting it out there, but it never really holds true, because the fact is, as I said today and I've said on this program, if you're doing something wrong and you're involved in criminal behavior, you're not going to broadcast it all over the place. You're not going to broadcast it. So you're going to work in a vacuum. And so it doesn't make any sense that people that would be doing nefarious and criminal things that would get them impeached would be doing it out in the open for people to catch. And anybody should know, I'm sure Michael Flynn had to have known that the ambassador and those people would be listening, but he probably never thought, if there's an over here, that they would bring it up, because he probably didn't think he was doing anything wrong. Michael Flynn lied, I guess, and that's what got him in trouble. I really still don't know the insights of exactly what happened with all that. So what my question here is, though, I'm not going to rehash this whole thing, is that I can't understand. Rick's not getting back to me. I can't understand why liberals who, claim to be liberal, or people that vote Democrat, why are you distancing yourself from this? That's the question I have. Is I'm not putting you down. I'm not saying you're a part of it. I'm asking, why would you even? I say the same thing to Republicans. When you have people like what was John Boehner, now it's John McCain, it's Paul Ryan, these different Republican congressmen and congresswomen who failed to have a insurance Obamacare replacement bill out there. None of this stuff is happening, and I criticize Republicans for going along with it. I don't know why they would go along and continuously vote these people in the office when they're failing at their job. I heard today it was from the show Patriot Tonight. It's the late night one that's on right now on Sirius XM, and they was Deneen Borelli and Tom Borelli, and they were talking to some congressman, and senator now. He said, well, I was a congressman for 20 years, and my jaw just dropped. I mean, I'm sitting here going, because the stuff this guy was saying was, it wasn't adding up. He was like talking about Charles Ray, the FBI proposed director, and what he was saying, and Tom Borelli asked him a direct question, which he never answered, about whether or not, which is what we had been talking about whether or not his closeness with Comey and Mueller and the FBI was going to be a problem, and he just skipped right over that. Here's the thing, folks. Here's what you got to, and liberals, I'm still talking to you, is that if you want to be a part of the solution, I say it all the time to people who are Muslims, if you want to be a part of the solution, then you need to turn on those establishment people. In Islam, you need to turn on the fundamentalists, and when I say turn on them, you need to turn on them and go after them, and then Islam needs to reform itself to where either it just decides, we as a religion or a community or ideology, whatever you want to call yourself, are going to learn to coexist, or we're going to coexist, and we're going to change the rules to get rid of jihad, to get rid, they either need to do that, or they need to go ahead and decide that they're going to go back to the Middle East and just leave. Because the way it's going now, it's not working. Well, I'll say the same thing to Democrats and Republicans. First of all, you shouldn't be Democrats or Republicans. We just should not be divided like that. We should just be the American people, and it should be as simple. I don't even know why I was watching the president today when he arrived in France, and it was all this pomp and circumstance and the big cars and the big jets and all this stuff, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I know it's President Trump, and we elected President Trump, and I'm glad that he's there, but what is with all this pomp and circumstance? We don't have kings and queens. Why does the president live in this White House why doesn't he have an office building that he goes to, a government office, where he rolls up and basically goes to work, managing the country, and then goes home? And maybe his home could be close by, but why does it have to be this palatial building that is some kind of iconic power building? I don't get it. I think one thing representatives get right is their meek existence in Washington, D.C. Although it's not meek. They all become millionaires, but they exist in those little bitty offices and walk around and do nothing. But I just am not into this pomp and circumstance. I think our president, the life of a president should be a Spartan lifestyle. I don't think it should be celebrated. I don't think they should walk around. I understand the security. I totally get that. But I don't think that it needs to be... I think the president, yeah, you're right. He always needs to be at work. This president pretty much is always at work. But I don't think the president needs to be somebody who walks around and is presented as this all-powerful being, because they're not. They're put in a position to make good decisions. And I think, like the rest of these people in Washington, D.C., if they don't make good decisions, we should have a way to fire them in less than 4 years. And I think it should be much easier for the people to fire these individuals. So I tell you what, you want to get people to a voting booth. They're not going to show up to vote for people in office, but they sure as heck would show up to vote them out of office. I guarantee you that. I know American citizens. And if we made it to where we could vote them out of office, they would be showing up. I mean, you would see probably every single person that could vote would show up. So I don't know who these people are to keep showing up and saying, hey. That's all they ever say. I just block them from now on. So don't show up and say, hey. So where am I going with all this? The liberals and the conservatives, free thinkers, you need to start distance yourself from these political parties and their establishments that are playing these games. It's not good for the country. You need to get away from it. And the reality of what's probably most likely, we don't have proof beyond a reasonable doubt, but we have some good circumstantial evidence. And there's been murder cases that have been tried and convicted on circumstantial evidence. There's some good evidence, circumstantial evidence, that what I'm laying out, the picture that I'm laying out, is absolutely true. Remember, I'm a big picture guy. People are saying that Will Cowell connected the dots today. Well, Will Cowell is not an investigator, and he doesn't have the evidence to connect the dots. He may be able to make some good assumptions like I do, but I think we do have enough circumstantial evidence to look at the big picture. I really do. When it comes to Podestas and any of these other people that are involved, the Anthony Wieners, the Uma Abedin, we need on the ground evidentiary collection so we don't get in the same circumstances that's being done to President Trump, where we're just creating evidence. You have to have evidence to get to the dots. And what we do have in this case is circumstantial evidence that is connecting the standard characteristics of a counterintelligence operation. Yeah. So I think we do have enough for that. Nobody's looking into it. And so here's what I'm going to close this one spot about here. I'm going to predict something else for everybody. Charles Wray will get nominated as the FBI director, and it's going to be very fast because the Democrats want him in there. I think that is going to end up being one of the biggest mistakes President Trump ever made, was nominating that guy. And I can guarantee you that he nominated him based not on the advice of operators and people who have been in the FBI. No, I'm not talking about executive directors. Chris Wray, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I guarantee you he took the advice of Reince Priebus, of Chris Christie, and then probably Mueller and some other people, higher ups in the FBI. He did not take advice from people like Michael Jack or myself or other FBI agents, that people that understand what's going on. I guarantee you that, he was Chris Christie's lawyer. I guarantee you that President Trump does not understand the reality of how liberal, how many communists parading themselves as globalists work in the Department of Justice and in the FBI. I guarantee you he doesn't know that. And that is going to be his biggest mistake. Ultimately, if there's anything that's going to cause this illusion, which entrapment does get people put in jail. It has happened before in history because the information was so tightly manufactured that it fit perfectly. The only thing that's going to allow that to happen is this FBI director. And I can't for the life of me understand why you would go hunting with a 2-barrel shotgun, one of which is pointing back at your head. There he goes again. He's coughing again, but he'll stop as soon as I turn the computer off. So I'm calling on all liberals to stand with us. I'm calling on all conservatives to stand together. See, the liberals just need to stand with us, but the conservatives need to learn how to stand together. They don't even know how to do that, which I'm railing on constantly. So everybody needs to stand together and stand against Washington, D.C., stand against these false narratives and this ongoing case of counterintelligence operations that's going on against our president, and stand against this. I don't know. I can't even. I'm trying to think of a word for it. It's so oddly evil what's going on in Washington, D.C. right now. It used to be just common politics, but now there's an agenda there, and you can just feel it. You can see it. It's odd. Let me see what else. Annie, you're saying you don't like Lou Dobbs? I've met Lou Dobbs. I've been on his show. He's actually to me, he was a really nice guy. Yeah, that's the other thing, Lynette. Last night, Michael Jack was talking about why we don't need another attorney from the DOJ and the FBI. This will be the third DOJ attorney that they have put in the place to run the FBI with no law enforcement experience. I can't understand why that keeps happening. And it's going to be trouble for Trump. It's going to be trouble. Yeah, there's no drain in the swamp. You can't drain the swamp with swamp water. I may start wearing these shirts all the time. This is actually, it's polyester though. This thing makes me sweat. All right. What was the other thing I wanted to talk about? I'm all over the place tonight. Let's see here. I got it written down right here. Could North Korea hit our electrical grid? Most likely. I'm not even really going to cover that tonight. We'll get back to that. Because I really want to have somebody on here that will... So Rick is not going to be able to come on tonight. And so I'm going to take a picture and send it to him so he'll see my... let's see here. Hold on. Well, let's do it this way. Let's do a pano. There it is. I don't know if I can do this or not. I'm going to start it right here. You guys are seeing this live. We'll do it live. All right, we'll start right here. Wait, we want to go... Okay. I think I screwed it up. Well, that didn't work out so well. All right, forget him. That's the only thing that came out of that. I have no idea what that was. All right, never mind. We'll just take a regular picture and send to him. I love harassing old Rick Unger, though. We'll do it this way. We'll do it this way and live. There you go. How's that? Oh, Rick Unger. All right. We're going to leave him alone. He's at dinner. He's at dinner. Now, can we get attacked our electrical grid? Yes, we can. I can't go into great detail about it because there's a lot of classified stuff that has to do with the electrical grid that I'm not at liberty to discuss, but I would like to have somebody come on here and talk about hacking, that type of government stuff, and also to talk about EMPs, which I never really dealt with an electromagnetic pulse weapon, so it'd be good to have somebody come on and talk about that. Hey, we got 26 people on YouTube. Thank you all for joining. So if you haven't already, does anybody else have anything they want to talk about real quick? Because I'm not trying to brush this show off tonight. I got some time. I'm going to go work out here in a little bit. Who's at dinner at 10:30 at night? Man, TJ, I eat dinner at 1 o'clock at night. Let's see what else. How you can impeach McCain. Somebody actually wrote about that today. I think that was Remo. Let me look up Remo's page here real quick, and I'll tell you. Unless you want to send me that picture, Remo. Let's see here. Remo put this on here. Under Article 1, Section 5, Clause 2 of the Constitution, a member of Congress may be removed from office before the normal expiration of his or her constitutional term by an expulsion from the Senate, if a senator, or from the House of Representatives, if a representative, upon a formal vote on a resolution agreed, which means it will never happen. See, I don't know what would happen if the people got together and said, we don't recognize him anymore. But here's the problem, folks. There's people out there that love John McCain. So, probably not going to happen. I'm looking at what you guys are writing here. What do I think about PFC helping ISIS? I don't know about that, Craig. I haven't seen that story, but I'll look at that. If there's a private first class that's been helping ISIS, first of all, private first class probably isn't going to have the ability to get into too much because he's a private as far as information goes. And training and expertise as a private, but he should be locked up for the rest of his life. Eleanor says 50+% of Arizona loves McCain. And the reason they love McCain is because McCain does stuff he's no different than a drug cartel leader down in Colombia, like the Cali cartel and those people. They did a lot for communities. And so communities wouldn't get rid of them, even though, they're responsible for millions of people's deaths in other countries and the global movement of drugs. So they're going to look at these people as, hey, I got my meal ticket. It's your problem. And that's what's going on in Arizona. That's what happens in New York with these people. That's what happens in Chicago, where we get these weirdo representatives and senators and stuff. So, in Illinois. So, in California, we end up suffering. Same thing with federal judges. We end up suffering for other people's narcissistic and un-American views, where they got theirs. They're not worried about it. John McCain makes our life great, so therefore we don't have to worry about the rest of the country. Somebody just wrote, USA was a nice idea, but it's time to break it up. Or take it back, one of the two. Trump needs to drain the swamp. I'm telling you, you can't drain the swamp with swamp water. And Annie says she doesn't know anybody who voted for him, and I understand it. I spoke to a large group of people in Tucson, Arizona, and nobody knows anybody that voted for John McCain. Brandon's asking, should the Confederate States make a comeback? The Confederate States. I don't know. You know what it really comes down to? It's not Confederate States. Here's what it comes down to now is the rural areas in this country versus the cities. And unfortunately, the cities are where commerce lies. And so yeah, I'm not saying that the Confederate States should come back, Brandon. I'm saying that the rural areas and the cities are two different countries now. It's like you have it's not as expensive to live in the country as it is to live here in the city. I can guarantee you that. You think it's cheaper to live in the city? I'll tell everybody what I pay. I pay $2,125 a month for 500 square feet in Manhattan. So you tell me in the country where you're going to spend $2,000 for a garage to live in. And I have a pretty nice apartment. I'm not subsidizing anything. I don't know. Anyway, here's the point of all this is that this country is split between the rural areas and the metropolitan areas. And that is really, it's not the breakdown of north and south or east or west. It's the breakdown between where communism flourishes and where it doesn't flourish. And that's pretty much where it breaks down. Let me see what Bill's saying here. Yeah. Vincent, you're saying less than 2,400 square feet. What? So here, I'm going to say this one last thing here. Brooks Chadwick, you're saying that Convention of States. Now, here's the thing with this Convention of States. It's all ran by Republicans and Democrats. As long as that's the case, you're never going to have a Convention of States that's going to work. Because inevitably, those people, majority of people that are high enough powers to make a decision in government are either a Democrat or a Republican, and they swear allegiance to their master, which is one of those two private companies. The only way this country would ever be rescued is if the people rose up together, not divided. Look, another civil war is not going to work here. We need a country of citizens that rise up together, and I don't know if that's possible. I don't know. On that note, why don't we have a Friday night toast on Thursday night? So why don't you all get something to drink? All right. Okay. Dang it. The guy disappeared. Hold on. The guy that just said, why don't we toast the end of the Republic? I got something for you. Where'd you go, troll? Before I move on to the toast, we are going to specifically, I'm glad that he put that out there. We are going to specifically toast to the Republic. So where'd he go there? He's scared. He's thinking right now. He's going to try to come back with one good, quick, like insulting thing. Oh, there he is. Rome. I'll see you later, turd. All right. I think he's blocked. I blocked him twice somehow. Okay. And there's somebody else saying hi. Oh, let's Twitter. I wish, you know what? I'll tell you what I'm going to do tomorrow. When I get home tomorrow. Because I'm not going to do a show, I'm going to put some of the time towards figuring out how to do this massive chat room thing, because it would be, if you could stay logged on to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube and somehow be able to, I don't know if I can lock those on together. I got to find out. If I'm just reading, if I'm just reading them and you can't see it, that's one thing. But if you guys could see each other and link all these together, that'd be cool. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I may come up for a little bit tomorrow. We'll see. But it's not going to be this big production. Let's go to, it's really weird. Me rambling has actually kept the numbers going here. So let's go to the Truth Zone. Get your drinks ready, folks. I wish I could see you guys. All right, let's do it. Should have left that guy on here so he could see this. We are going to raise a toast because I haven't talked about this all week. The 16 Marines that died in the crash down in Louisiana, I believe it was. Annie says you're getting saved on Saturday. What do you mean you're getting saved on Saturday? You plan on jumping off something? You talking about religious-wise? You don't choose the day you get saved on like that. You're saved right now if you already believe in the Lord Jesus. You're getting baptized. That's different. That's a public confession. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you have to be baptized to go to heaven. That's Church of Christ. That's a lie. And that's not true. Doesn't say that in the Bible. I know they try to spin it that way, but it's not true. I still love you. We're going to raise a toast tonight to the 16 members of the Marine Corps that got up there and unfortunately perished in their training accident. And God bless them for being the warriors that they are. You don't have to drive into battle. You don't have to drive into battle to sacrifice for this country. You know, you swear an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and you do that because you live in a republic under a constitution that gives you freedom and demands that people serve this country and defend its freedoms. And so I raise my toast to these individuals and all the people that are serving, all the cops, all the veterans, active duty and former, all the patriots that are out there that are trying to win this country back, all those people that serve as nurses and physician assistants in the ERs, the paramedics, the firemen, all those people. God bless every single one of them. God bless this country. God bless the republic. As I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Why don't we drink to that? Now, as far as that guy saying that I was a liar because I said that all you had to do was believe in the Lord and his sacrifice to be a Christian, buddy, I almost blocked you, but you know what? Keep watching this show. You'll see the truth. I'm no liar, and that's all it takes. Why do you think Jesus died for our sins? Don't be a fool. Baptism is just a display. Just like it's a work to show that you believe. And everybody, if you haven't been saved, get down on your knees and say a prayer to the Lord tonight. He'll respond. This country needs it. You need to be saved, and this country needs your service. I'm Jonathan Gillum. No, I'm not Magnum PI. Old Rico's asleep over there. I'll see you all Monday. I'll maybe come up for a little bit tomorrow on my phone. But as always, on this program, the truth has arrived. Join me.
Looks like somebody's asking for the Dave Robinson tiny voice, so I figured I'd do it for you, since it's my Friday. You know what? I'm just gonna say names with this voice, and it'll be funny. Watch this. Bobby Lester. Here's another one for you. Hold on. Hold on, this will be good.
Jim Brown. My name is Jim Brown.
Eleanor Morgan, you need to get over here right now and quit fooling around. This music reminds me of Dave Robinson running through the woods from a bear, going like this. Ah! There's a big old bear about to get me. My name is Dave Robinson. Leave me alone. Ah! I love you, Dave. This is the way I gotta change the voice. This is the way I don't think he's watching, but Barry Morgenstein, when he's taking pictures, I know because I've been there. This is what it's like.
Work it. Now I want you to flip your hair over that way right there. Now don't move. I said don't move, damn it. That's it. Work it. I'm gonna take a picture of you now. Here goes.
I love you all. I'll see you on Monday. Hoo-yah!